Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for tonight, Monday, April the 12th, April 13th, 2015. Of course, Raw taking place, on tape late tonight because of the time difference, as Raw was in the UK tonight. No Triple H or Stephanie tonight, but the Authority had some little dissension, a little bit, with Kane's continuing tension with Seth Rollins continue to boil over. Plus, we have some new stipulations added to matches of Extreme Rules and a new match added to Extreme Rules, which could change following an attack that happened early in the evening. And what was just okay, and besides building up Extreme Rules, there were some okay little things. Two really good matches, and that's about it. And of course, like I said, building up for Extreme Rules. And a little bit of announcer change. Michael Cole returned tonight, got rid of Byron Saxton, who stays on SmackDown because now we know why Byron is on SmackDown. He has time to overdub himself because Raw's live and SmackDown's taped. Raw was 2 tonight, but hey, not too much overdubbing the crowd because the crowd in the UK is always decent. And another NASA switch, Eden, who usually does SmackDown, did Raw tonight because Lily Garcia did not make the trip overseas because she got injured. I think she had like an ACL injury or something. So we shall begin Raw with John Cena continuing his open challenge for the U.S. Championship. He's been doing it for the last couple weeks. Been a mixed bag. Some people say that people are getting buried by Cena, but hey, decent showings from Dean Ambrose 2 weeks ago. He looked really good in that match. And last week against Stardust wasn't that bad. Cena's at least trying to give young talent an opportunity, even though he's beating him every week. But Cena decided to give that one young talent again an opportunity. Well, as a guy that's not exactly a young talent anymore, but a guy that Cena has had some issues with in the past. When he was the leader of Nexus, of course referring to the former Intercontinental Champion, Wade Barrett, who, as we all know, is set to take on Daniel Bryan at Extreme Rules for the Intercontinental Championship. But Wade Barrett, we got a good reception. Hello, we're in England. And of course, a typical John Cena booze with the usual welcoming from the UK fans, always flooded with the John Cena sucks singing. And I won't be the only singing they will do tonight, as we shall see. B&B's like, well, Cena, I'm not going to wait for a title shot against Daniel Bryan. I'm going to go up for another title. Yours. So we have Brandon Barrett against Cena for the U.S. Championship to open up Raw. Decent little matchup between these guys. Give Cena all you want. You know, love or hate Cena all you want. He's trying his best, but hey, he's John Cena. So Brandon Barrett looked really good. And both guys, they're both the big finishers. Cena did the FU and Brandon Barrett did the Bullhammer. And he also did the Winds of Change and the Wasteland too. But specifically, both the FU and Bullhammer, both guys kicked out of each other's moves. I have a little rhyme. No matter what you do, John Cena always kicks out at 2. I just invented that tonight. I loved watching because everyone knows Cena always likes to kick out at 2. Because you can't pin him down because they never give up. And of course, Super Cena. So these are little matchups. Both guys have some good offense. A little back and forth. And there was a couple little, like I said, some decent action for both these two guys. And Cena does that springboard stunner move. I mean, at least Cena, make fun of Cena, knowing what the 5 moves to do. At least he's trying new things. With a springboard stunner. And of course, the not the STMP, but the FU. I'll never call Attitude Adjustment ever. If you've been noticing that lately. And the 1-2-3 victory for John Cena, retaining his U.S. Championship. And decent little back and forth matchup with Brandon Barrett. So then we would see Lana appear. Talking about Rusev waiting until Extreme Rules for their rematch. But then up from behind, Rusev came from the crowd and attacked Cena with a Russian chain. Thus announcing a stipulation to John Cena and Rusev. Now, in my Attack Sports today, I kind of had an inkling that they were going to add some sort of stipulation to Cena and Rusev. I thought it was me last man standing. Instead, we're going to have ourselves a Russian chain match. Which is kind of like a strap match. But instead of being attached to a strap, you'd be attached to a Russian chain. You can either go one or two ways. Either the way I just said, or have a Russian chain on a pole match. But I don't think it's going to be the case. It's going to be like It'd be like the same rules of a strap match. You gotta drag your opponent to each turnbuckle post and hit it 4 times. You hit all 4 turnbuckles once. But instead of being, like I said, attached to a strap, you'd be attached to a Russian chain. So that's the deal. New stip added to that match. Cena Rusev Russian chain match, U.S. Championship Extreme Rules in about 2 weeks. Now, speaking of Extreme Rules, and seeing the British look really good tonight. A lot of British superstars were on Raw tonight. And the same bad news bad win, well, lose. British need a winner. So they had Paige participate in the Battle Royal to determine the new number one contender for Nikki Bella to take her on at Extreme Rules for the Divas Championship. Now, no NXT people. I thought they were going to sneak in some NXT people in the Battle Royal. But I think they're on the tour probably, but they're not on Raw tonight. Sad. Because Paige came out last and got the big ovation. It was like no one's going to come out to Paige. Because we had Paige, Naomi, Rosa Mendez, Summer Rae, Natalia, who else cares? Okay, a little battle war for being the Divas the Battle Royal. Unlike a regular Battle Royal, you can go through the middle rope and be eliminated. In normal Battle Royal rules, especially guys, and Royal Rumble especially, you gotta go over the top, not through the middle. Girls, you can go through top or middle. So typical Battle Royal fashion, people eliminated. And we were down to the final 2. Paige and Naomi. Now, I also mentioned my Attack Sports that I predicted that Naomi would win because Naomi's been momentum lately, pinning the Divas champion. And in my mind, she could be the next. I've said this a lot, but Naomi should have been Divas champion a long time ago. But she's had so many setbacks that prevented her from achieving. Because I like her. She's pretty athletic, in my opinion. But I think some people may call her boring because she's a good girl. Well, I think the good girl act may have come to an end. Despite looking good in Battle Royal, Naomi got eliminated by Paige. Which Paige won. Which kind of surprised me. Because I heard Paige was going to be leaving to go on a movie. But I think the only reason why AJ, well not AJ because she's retired now. The only reason why I think Paige won is to set up the heel turn from Naomi. Because Naomi attacked Paige following the match, doing a post-match interview, ran all over the post, and just took it all over and just vented. Snapped, as you would say. Now, she played a good act long enough. You know, some would say she could turn heel. But here's the pros and cons of Naomi turning heel. The pro is you can see a different side of Naomi than just a good girl. And when I saw Naomi turn, I knew the direction they were going to go with. That Naomi was going to say, I've been playing a good girl long enough, and I've been working my tail off to get the championship opportunity, and I get brushed aside. And what is being nice, give me nothing. I can be more aggressive. It's all about me. I'm going to get what I deserve. And that's the direction they went with as we saw a post-match interview with Naomi after the attack on Paige. So that's the direction they're going with their heel turn. It is going to be intriguing to see her as a heel. But a big con to me is we don't need more diva heels. We need more good girl divas. Now with AJ gone, we need another big good girl diva. Paige could be up there as a good girl. But I think they need to bring someone from NXT. I said this, I think I might have said this in my Raw review either 2 weeks ago or last week. But they need a new babyface diva. Like Charlotte, for instance. You know, or Bayley. Bayley is a big over babyface at NXT. Especially for a huggable character. Would make her a good, lovable, good girl. But Charlotte's like the good girl that's aggressive. Not nicey like Bayley is. We see what that got Naomi being a nice good girl. But like I said, you got the pros and cons. You know, we'd love to see Naomi be pushed up for a babyface. But I think her as a heel could be intriguing. And now with her attacking Paige, AJ's former partner, they could be using that as an excuse to put Naomi in the match after all. Since Paige, I keep saying AJ, I'm sorry. I think they were just doing that just to set up the heel turn. And to set up AJ, Paige. That's why I keep saying AJ. Maybe AJ on the brain because I kind of miss her, man. So I guess this show's all over. But hey, stand by your man. That's all I gotta say about her leaving the company. Same as CM Punk. Anyway, I think it set up Paige getting injured and getting her written off. Like I said, she's making a movie. So maybe that's why that Paige got attacked by Naomi. But I think Naomi should get a Divas title shot. Heel or not, I think Naomi should get a Divas title shot. So that's my thing. You know, like I said, I think Naomi should have had a shot a long time ago. I remember that she was supposed to get a shot, and then I think she got injured. Like she was being pushed up for it. She got an eye injury. WWE does that to people. Like it looks like they're gonna push somebody, and then they give them like slowing down momentum, and they don't regain it. Like what happened to my back. I thought he was getting in line for a U.S. title shot. Then he storyline fired him. He never regained his momentum. Now he's fighting Luke Harper every week, including tonight. But first, before we get to Luke Harper thing, we have a tag team match involving two great teams from NXT. The Ascension, who to get over bad and get rid of their bad booking, against a team that's getting really good booking ever since debuting in the WWE. At least that we didn't fuck up the Lucha Dragons. It was cool to see these two teams clash because, of course, me being an NXT fan, any other NXT fan knows these two have had their issues at NXT. Of course, as you all know, the Lucha Dragons were the one that ended the long title reign of the Ascension in NXT as NXT Tag Team Champions. And this match was a decent tag team affair, with Ascension looking good with the double teaming. But then once Kalisto got in there, Kalisto, I've been saying it every week about Kalisto that he's like the next Rey Mysterio when it comes to the next big Hispanic Mexican superhero because he's so athletic and so acrobatic and just his moves are just awesome. You know, looked good again tonight against the Ascension. And great double team moves from the Lucha Dragons. Ending up with the Salida del Sol. I love the finishing move from Kalisto. And it goes to big splash from Sin Cara and the 1-2-3 victory for Lucha Dragons. I hope they get a title shot soon. Maybe in Extreme Rules. Maybe they announce that match next week. Because we still need a tag team title match for the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. So there you go with that. Now, I think we went on to our next segment. I gotta get back on track. I think we had a Roman Reigns interview. The first time we've seen Roman Reigns properly speak since after WrestleMania. And then Big Show came on. I hate to say this. Roman Reigns, make fun of his mic skills all you want. He has better mic skills than Big Show. Kind of. I think they're having a feud. I think Big Show and Roman Reigns are having a feud. Even though Big Show did lose to Roman Reigns last week on Raw. I think they're heading towards a feud. Like a match in Extreme Rules, probably, sadly. So then, we would see Roman Reigns do a little interview about being screwed by Big Show out of the number one contendership last week. And Big Show was on the screen saying that you're like a big dumbass, blah, 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 blah. So then, Roman Reigns left. He wanted a piece of Big Show now. As he was walking out to the back, Big Show came from behind and attacked him, waving him against a car that was placed on stage, ending up chokeslamming him on top of the roof of this car, which is great. I like that spot. Like I said, they're setting it up for, I think they're going to have like some sort of like tables match or chairs match or some sort of match at Extreme Rules between these two. So there you go. Speaking of Extreme Rules, both number one contender Randy Orton and the champ Seth Rollins will have opportunities to win matches to add stipulations to their match at Extreme Rules. Randy Orton was first as he took on Cesaro, one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions. Cesaro looked pretty good, but then Cesaro got beaten by Orton. But as Orton was getting a little bit of advantage, Tyson Kidd came involved and got disqualified. Well, got Cesaro disqualified. And Orton won by DQ. But Kane, the director of operations, was not going to let Orton win so easily. So he decided to set up Randy Orton against Cesaro and Tyson Kidd in a 2-on-1 handicap match. So maybe we would see Orton against Cesaro and Kidd. These are a little matchup between both these guys getting involved against Orton. Cesaro and Kidd have some great double team moves because they have the numbers advantage in their corner. But no matter what numbers advantage you have on the Viper, if it's one man or two man, the Viper will always strike upon his prey. Which he did. Despite great effort from Cesaro and a decent little handicap match. Great RKO, mini RKO, Tyson Kidd was going for like a springboard move off the top rope. And then Orton caught him a minute with an RKO. Maybe not as good as the RKO against Rollins at Mania, but still, pretty impressive. RKO. I love when Randy Orton does many RKOs. I like those. And the 1-2-3 victory for Randy Orton. So he won his match by DQ and had to win the match properly by a pinfall. Again, with his handicap match. That means he gets the right to name a stipulation for the match in Extreme Rules. Rollins, who was scheduled to face off against Dolph Ziggler, decided to have a new opponent, Kane. Like I said, we've been seeing tension with Kane and Rollins for the last couple weeks. You know, with the Authority gone, with Stephanie and Triple H gone, the Authority's falling apart with Kane and Rollins having their issues. And they would apparently settle it in a match. Now on to our next scenario. We would have Adam Rose against Dean Ambrose. A couple of little squashes to fill in time. Come on, Adam Rose against Dean Ambrose. We all know who's going to win that one. Rose ain't getting over these days. Dean Ambrose is going to get the bad boy. You know, because he, in my mind, should be a mid-card champion again. You know, he's U.S. champion. I think he'd be better IC champion than U.S. champion. Okay, little matchup. Despite Rose coming up with some good offense, Ambrose will do his lunatic fringe clothesline. After a bulldog, and of course, got the dirty deeds and the victory for himself against Adam Rose. Continuing with the wrestlers who no one gives a fuck about, we would see Fandango take on Stardust. After looking good against Cena last week, here to take on Fandango tonight. Is it just me or Stardust turning good guy here? Or is Fandango turning good guy? Especially after what happened after the match. So I'm eating toaster strudel. Made it. Before I went on the air, I made this toaster strudel. You might have seen it in the camera. But anyway. Despite Fandango trying to dance his way to another victory, Stardust would indeed get some big moves before nailing a big disaster kick. And 1-2-3 victory for Stardust. And Fandango was angry that he lost again. And he's like, I am not winning because of you, Rosa Mendes, my new partner. I want to dance with my fans. You know, I've been sharing my gift of dance with Rose, and now I need to share my gift with the fans. And then the old Fandango theme song hit and reminded us why we like Fandango in the first place. I said it when Fandango switched to a flamenco dancer back in November. He got rid of what made him popular. He got rid of what made the fans like him. The danceable theme song. That's what got him over. He got rid of that and he's been going nowhere since. I think he finally realized it. Even though it's one night only. I don't care if it's one night only or not. Just seeing Fandango dance to his old theme song again, having your fans, especially in UK of all places, dance the song. It's great to see. I hope it's not just a one night stand. I hope they bring back his old gimmick and his old theme song, people specific. So there you go. Now on to the next scenario. Randy Orton winning his match earlier against Cesaro. He gets a name stipulation for his match against Rollins. We'll see if Rollins gets that chance too. As I mentioned, instead of facing Dolph Ziggler, he'll face off against Corporate Kane. Now Rollins wanted an easy win, wanting Kane to lay down. Despite reluctance, Kane did lay down for Rollins at one point, but kicked out at 2. And you'd see Kane trying his best to hold back his anger. I thought he was going for a double chokeslam, and JG Security who got in the ring after Kane kicked out at 2. Pushed him aside, and he did chokeslam Rollins. But then he almost gave the signal for the tombstone, and he was fighting it. You can tell that despite wanting to beat the crap out of Rollins, he was being reluctant because he didn't want to lose his place in the Authority. So at the last minute, he laid down and put a fallen Seth Rollins on top of him in the 1-2-3 victory for Rollins, giving him the right to name a stipulation for his match as well. So both Orton and Rollins would both get the name stipulations for the match. And Kane walked dejectedly away. I think, like I said, we've been seeing some attacks with Kane and Rollins. I think Kane should leave the Authority. You know, he's a corporate stooge. And he plays that role, but come on. In my mind, if Kane's going to retire soon, he should come back and at least be the big red monster again before he retires in the sunset. So we shall see. Interesting segment, though, to continue building more tension between Kane and the Authority. And especially when Triple H 70 comes back, this is going to be addressed. Because they're back in America next week, and Triple H and Stephanie are set to return on screen. So I'd not be surprised if they end up discussing the situation between Kane and Rollins as they come back. They'd be like, we were gone for 2 weeks, and we have all this tension between Kane and Rollins. So I bet you something's going to happen with Kane. Whipperman could be in hand. Now, on to our next scenario. Our next matchup, should I say. We had Damien Mizdow, accompanied by Summer Rae, the co-star of Mrs. Movie, the Movie 4, which will come out on digital HD tomorrow, on DVD next week, and next Wednesday will be in the $5 bin at Walmart. And it'll be in a thrift store for $1. And then at garage sales for 50 cents. Go on down the line, people. Insert your joke about WWE studio films here. Basically. Because all WWE films, most of them are SAWFD. Soft. Yeah. Anyway, we saw Miz and Mizdow face off last week with Miz getting a little cheap victory, holding the trunks, the tights of Mizdow. So Mizdow wanted to get a little one-up on Miz tonight in a rematch. They went back and forth with Mizdow doing one of Miz's moves and trying to set up for the Skull Crushing finale, but Miz would counter with his own little moves, including his own teaser, the Skull Crushing finale. But then as Miz was going for a big move, Mizdow ducked it, and he got the tights this time. He rolled up Miz. He had the tights like Miz did last week, and he got the victory with that. So 1-1 these guys are. Miz beat Mizdow last week. Mizdow beat Miz this week. So I bet you we'll have like a rubber match, either next week on Raw or in Extreme Rules. We shall see. And with a stipulation added, probably. They should. Now on to the next matchup. I mentioned earlier, Naomi should have been champion a long time ago, but she had so many setbacks and lost momentum. Same thing with Ryback. I think Ryback, I thought he was in line early in the year. They were pushing him against Rusev, but it never happened. He got storyline fired when the Authority came back after being fired in Survivor Series. And Ryback's lost momentum since. Now he's up against Luke Harper. Decent match, because I like Luke Harper. He was probably one of my favorite members of the Wyatt family, besides Bray Wyatt, who delivered another creepy promo tonight. Of course, still recovering from losing the Taker. He's probably getting himself off screen for a while. He's doing these promos because he can't be in the ring, because I think he's still recovering from his ankle injury that he suffered right before WrestleMania. It probably also gave me more time off to think about what's next after losing the Taker, besides resting from an injury. So two ways of doing it. Two reasons why I think they have Bray Wyatt off screen for a while. Out of the ring. So Harper and Ryback had a little match. Harper has big moves. I like his agility. For a big guy, he's got great agility, great athleticism. He did a little gator roll. But then Ryback came back with a big move, a big power bomb, setting up the meat hook. Probably would lead up to the shell shock, but Harper saw that coming, because he was setting up, to feed me more. Harper saw that coming, went out of the ring, and both guys brought outside the ring until Harper used the Raw logo and wheeled Ryback with it, causing disqualification. But then comes Dean Ambrose, who got taken out earlier, a couple weeks ago, by Luke Harper at WrestleMania, powerbombing through a ladder at Mania, and also taking him out on SmackDown a couple days later. Because we didn't see Ambrose last week on Raw SmackDown because of the storyline taken out by Luke Harper. So Ambrose came out attacking Harper, winning a piece of him. Even set up for dirty deeds, but Harper ran out before Ambrose could nail that move. I think this could be a match in Extreme Rules. Luke Harper against Ambrose in a stipulation match, like a chairs match or a tables match, or even a ladder match. But what would they be claiming for? But I think they'll have a match in Extreme Rules. I think so. Maybe they'll make the match next week. Now on to the next match, probably one of my favorite matches of the night. Probably the only really good match of the night. We had Dolph Ziggler, who, like I said, was set to face Seth Rollins tonight until he made the decision to let Kane lay down for him, kind of. So Dolph Ziggler came out saying that I'm mad that Seth didn't want to wrestle me tonight, but I'm not going to sit back and just wait until next week to wrestle. I want to wrestle tonight. Like Cena, I want to issue an open challenge. And I was sitting there, I was like, would it be cool if Adrian Neville came out to accept the open challenge? And it was Adrian Neville. Neville, who had an excellent showing against Seth Rollins last week, had another excellent showing against Dolph Ziggler. Because when I saw Neville came out, I was like, this is going to be awesome. Because both guys are freaking awesome. This match kind of lived up to what I was hoping to be. A really good, really athletic matchup, and both guys looked good in this match. Especially Neville. There were so many good spots. There was obviously the big tornado DDT from Dolph Ziggler. And that impact of the DDT was brutal. Like, really good. Like, really stiff tornado DDT. Like, the impact that Neville suffered during the landing was, like, intense. And both guys was, like, really back and forth. Probably one of my other favorite spots in the match, which I was really impressed with. Both guys were fighting outside the ring. And Adrian Neville had already done a big backward springboard off the top rope onto Dolph on the floor. But he wasn't done flying yet. He got back in the ring, but then he got back outside the ring, climbed on top of the steel black barricade, like the little tightrope act, and did a big, like a little 450 splash on top of the barricade onto a fallen Ziggler. That was awesome. That was a cool spot. That was a really, really good spot. That was a cool spot. And then both guys were just delivering great shots, great offensive moves. Big super kick from Dolph at one point. And then Neville came back down with a big move. And he was setting up for an arrow. But then Ziggler rolled out of the way. But Neville got right back on his feet. But he got waved against the ring post by Ziggler. Got nailed with a zigzag. And 1-2-3 victory for Dolph Ziggler. I thought Neville was going to win. You know, because I love both these guys. But I think Neville should get over Ziggler. But I love Ziggler too. I met Ziggler too a few weeks ago. When SmackDown was in Detroit. And Ziggler was a nice guy. So I think it doesn't matter who won. Because you know who really won? The fans. Because they're going to see both of their favorite fan favorites face up against each other. No matter who won. But it would have been cool to see Neville win. For two reasons. One, it would get him over. And two, it's in England. It's home country. And he lost in England. You know, well, Bateman's Barry lost tonight. At least AJ, Paige won. Sorry, I don't know why I got AJ on the play tonight. I don't know why I'm saying AJ's name a lot. Just fumbling. So, thanks for at least sticking with me this far. Now, after that great match between these two guys, like I said, another great showing. It got ended, the feel-good feeling got ruined quickly as the newly heel Sheamus came out to bro kick everybody in sight, including Ziggler and Mr. Neville. Because Sheamus now wants to beat up the little guys. The little fellas, as he would say. And he would beat up both guys, including a bro kick on the outside to Dolph Ziggler. I would not be surprised if these guys get into a triple threat match or something in Extreme Rules. Or at least a match on Raw or something. Because I know Sheamus and Ziggler's had their issues ever since Sheamus came back 2 weeks ago after WrestleMania. When he came out doing Dolph Ziggler's match after Dolph Ziggler's title match against Daniel Bryan. He got bro kicked to hell from Sheamus then. No matter how stupid Sheamus looks, I love him as a heel. So there you go. Great matchup from another great showing from Neville. Hopefully he wins again on Raw soon. He's won a main event, but not on Raw. Ever since his debut against Curtis Axel. But hey, two great showings against Rollins and Dolph Ziggler. Even though they were losing efforts, he looked good in both matches. I hope they really do well with him. Now into the last segment of the night. The stipulations will be revealed for Extreme Rules' main event. Randy Orton against Seth Rollins. Seth looked really comfortable sitting and little lazy boy recliner and his cronies, G&G Security, like the Jabba security sign, which is kind of true, sitting on little sofa recliner, sofa things as well. Looking a little bit comfortable as they're getting ready to reveal the stipulation for the match against Orton. Both guys had the rights to name stipulations. So Orton came out, of course. Rollins came out minus Kane, who walked out after laying down for Rollins early in the evening. And Rollins is like, Randy Orton, I'm going to take with you one weapon. The RKO is banned in the match. And we've seen a stipulation before, Randy Orton in a match for the title, but it was when he was a heel. I think it was against Shawn Michaels. Like Shawn Michaels wasn't allowed to use the super kick, and I think Randy Orton wasn't allowed to use the RKO as well. That means if Orton does use the RKO, he loses the match by forfeit. That's how that stipulation works. But then Orton's like, well, you want to ban the RKO from the match? How do we ban something else? Your number one weapon. Relying on the authority to win. So let's have a match in a steel cage. I think we should know there'll be some sort of stipulation like that to get the authority out of the way so Orton and Rollins can fight one-on-one. But here's the problem, though. Even if the steel cage's main purpose is to keep the people from interfering on the outside, they still eventually fucking interfere. That's the problem, though, with steel cage matches. You know, the purpose they serve is to keep people from interfering on the outside, but people still find a way to interfere anyway. So we'll probably still see the authority get involved, especially if it's Kane, especially with the tension between Kane and Rollins. I smell a turn soon with Kane, but Kane has turned. He's changed babyface and heel more times than anybody. Well, other than Big Show and Mark Henry. Anyway, and Orton's like, well, since I'm not allowed to use the RKO at Extreme Rules, how about I use it now? Bang! The predicted fight after that little situation would unfold. As Orton would deliver 2 RKOs to Mercury and Noble. He also did a Hangman DDT on Rollins at one point. But that's when J&J came in. That's when the RKOs came in. So there you go. With Orton standing tall as Rollins left cowardly to the back. So there you go. Decent little one night being in UK. Like, there's only a few other good things. Like I said, US title match was great. The Dragons looked great again in the match. And of course, obviously Neville's match against Dolph Ziggler was really, really good. And of course, adding more stipulations to Extreme Rules and new matches to Extreme Rules and Naomi heel turn. And seeing Fandango dance again to his old theme song. So decent little one night. You know, being in UK. You know, we'll see what happens next week on Raw when the Authority makes their proper return. Being Triple H and Stephanie. And see how they're going to handle the whole Kane situation. With the tension between him and Rollins boiling over. Almost. So there it goes. We have 4 matches for Extreme Rules. Rollins and Orton, which will be in a steel cage. And Orton would not be allowed to use the RKO. Cena against Rusev in a Russian chain match. D-Bry and Bad News Barrett for the IC Championship. Hope they add a stipulation for that match as well. And as of right now, unless they wipe Paige out because of the attack from Naomi, Paige is scheduled to face up against Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship at Extreme Rules. Probably going to attack the title match announced between Lucha Dragons and Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. Probably a match between Miz and Mizdow to settle their Rumble match because both guys beat each other in the last 2 weeks. Maybe a match involving Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler. Maybe a match between Ambrose and Luke Harper. We shall see what happens next week on Raw. And Triple H is making an announcement about Tough Enough. Tough Enough's back. Austin's not hosting. But it's kind of weird that despite all these great NXT guys coming up, they still want new talent. That's what it's kind of weird to see the Tough Enough series and the Diva Search come back. Yeah, NXT guys. You already got enough talent. We don't need it anymore. Talent to overflow the company. We got the NXT people coming in. I don't want the Diva Search people and Tough Enough people getting booked more than the NXT people. Come on. Because NXT people deserve booking properly. Especially the good job they're doing with Lucha Dragons and Neville at the fucking Bo Dallas and the Ascension. So there you go. That is it for my attack review, my review of Raw tonight. Thank you very much for watching. And bearing me with my ramble doing it a little bit, but hey, still made some good points. That's what I think. Thank you again for watching. With that in mind, y'all been attacked by the review from Zach. See you later, everybody.